We're here again today with Kathy making a great bean recipe. It's called Beans 101.
It's a really good recipe, Whitney, and you know beans are part of the meat and bean group.
Right, and they're a great source of protein. And one of the most important things when we're talking about the meat and beans group is to think about varying your protein routine, changing it up a little bit. That way we get both some plant sources of protein, like our beans, as well as the animal sources. And even within the beans group, you can really mix it up. There's several varieties of beans, and a lot of people don't always think of all the options that there are, but we have black beans, kidney beans, garbanzo beans, dried peas, lentils, the list goes on. So there's a lot of options even within the beans that we can really kind of mix it up, change it up a little bit. So, well, let's get started.
A lot of great choices. Okay, the recipe that I'm doing today, I'm going to cook pinto beans. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pour 12 cups of water into my slow cooker. Okay. Right, and I have 3 cups of pinto beans that I have washed. It's always a good idea when you bring them home and open your package to wash them and look through them and make sure there isn't any small stones.
Right, you wouldn't want those in there.
I'm going to pour the beans in the slow cooker. Okay, also I have a tablespoon and a half of chili powder. This will be really good. 2 teaspoons of black pepper, and then I just have a small onion that I've diced. And we're going to add that.
Nice,
and you know, you could put jalapeno peppers, cayenne pepper, you could put anything. You could make them as hot or as mild as your family liked. I'm just going to stir all this together. Put the lid on it. We'll cook this for about an hour to bring the temperature of the crock pot up.
Okay.
And then we will turn it down on low. Usually when I cook beans at home, I put them on at night before I go to bed, check on them the next morning, and check them. Sometimes they need water, sometimes they don't. And then usually I just let them cook throughout the day on low and then have them in the evening for supper.
So it sounds pretty low maintenance. That's
low
nice.
maintenance, real easy and really good.
That's very nice. And of course, we're getting a lot of good nutrition from the beans. We mentioned the protein. We're also getting iron and fiber, and they're naturally low fat. So that makes them a heart-healthy choice because fiber can help lower cholesterol, and the fact that they're naturally low fat is very heart-healthy overall. So it's good to have some from the beans, and then of course other options from the plant sources of protein would be nuts and seeds, and to kind of mix that up with the meat to stay heart-healthy within this group. So.
Also, the fiber in beans helps us to feel full longer, and if you're watching your weight, that's a good thing.
Right, that's a great point. So it looks like we just let them set overnight, and we'll check them in the morning.
Okay, we've taken the beans out of the crock pot, and you know, Whitney, it's always a good idea not to add the salt until the end because I have found that it toughens the skin, and so we want them to be good and soft where they're really good to eat. And the juice has thickened up nicely, hasn't it?
Great, yes, they look great. And another thing that I like is that beans are such an economical choice from the meat and beans group. They're a very inexpensive alternative to the meat. Of course, we mentioned earlier all of the health benefits that we get from the beans. It's also important to keep in mind serving size when we think about the beans. When we're talking about a 2,000 calorie diet, of course, we need about 5.5 ounces from the meat and beans group, and a 1/4 cup of the cooked beans count as a 1 ounce equivalent. So that's something just to kind of keep in mind. And we mentioned that these are a very heart-healthy recipe. I'm looking forward to our next recipe from the meat and beans group. We're making fish Veracruz, which is also going to be another heart-healthy option.
Sounds really good.